It's Wednesday. I'm the Prez, Lawrence Presman, co-founder of Wager Talk Media, owner of WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com, and the iconic Gold Sheet. This is the NFL Presidential Address, Week 3. So excited to have Kelly Stewart back with us. Kelly, how are you? How did you do this past week?
Prez, the college football slate was absolutely amazing. Swept it 5-0 with 5 outright underdogs. And then I gave it all back on Sunday.
Yeah, no one had a worse Sunday than me, Kelly. I went 0-4. I had Tennessee, I had Pittsburgh, I had Cincinnati, and I had Minnesota. Listen, I've had a really rough start to the NFL season, probably the worst start I've ever had in my life. I'm way behind the 8 ball, but the thing is, I'm going to fight all the way back and make profit for all of our customers. It just guts me out. It kills me. I don't think anyone takes it worse than I do. I actually ended up puking. Yes, full-on vomit Sunday night. I was so upset, and I'm sick now. I haven't gotten over it. So you listeners out there, if you think all we're trying to do is take your money, you are wrong. We work our tail off to provide the best services we can provide. And I can speak on behalf of all 30 handicappers at both websites. We do not take losing well. And Kel, the same for you. I mean, you tweet out some of your picks, and I read your Twitter, and you're a poor loser just like me.
Oh, I'm a terrible loser. I hate it. I think there's something about winning money that is so amazing. But there is something about not only losing money, but there's like a pride factor where I just want to go absolutely berserk on Twitter, but give a nice lady and give things back to people anymore.
She's Kelly Stewart. I'm the Prez. We got a big show for all of you today. We're going to talk about bets on every single game on the board. We're also going to do a segment at the end, our teaser bet segment. We're going to do a money line dog segment and a survivor segment. And Kel, I'm going to hand this one over to you. Oh, wait. All right. Before we get into it, I just want to make mention. Today's the last show on the old computer. The sound might be a little bit jerky today. My apologies. Please put up comments on Wager Talk TV at our YouTube channel, but don't mention the sound. I'm honestly fed up. I am trying my best. Kelly, you cannot believe what I have done. I have rerouted my house from a wireless perspective. That didn't work. So then I hardwired in. That didn't work. I bought a mixing board. That didn't work. I bought a new mic. That didn't work. I tried new software programs. That didn't work. I bought, adapters, and that didn't work. I've been to Best Buy 9 times in the last 3 weeks, but we have isolated the problem, and the problem is my computer. It's my last day on it.
I said that last year. In my defense, I told you and a couple of the other guys, buy a new damn computer. And here we are. Now I feel really smart and can redeem myself for the crappy NFL weekend I had.
I'm here to make you feel better. But in all seriousness, the issue is the fan in my computer. When I'm bringing people in through Skype, the computer starts working overtime, and the fan kicks in. When the fan kicks in, it actually slows Skype's performance down. So I have gotten a much better computer. I'm looking at it right now. It's an HP Spectre. Probably the best computer money can buy. I just haven't been able to load OBS on it yet, which is the software that I use for broadcasting. That's going to be done today. So I'm pumped. If we have bad sound, it's the last show with it. Thanks, everyone, for watching. And, Kel, let's get straight to it.
All right, Thursday night, Tennessee at Jacksonville. Jacksonville able to keep it close last week. Honestly, I didn't play the Titans. I looked at the Titans. I know you were on the Titans. I didn't watch much of that game. What happened against Indianapolis?
2 big plays, honestly, Kel. Look, the Titans didn't dominate. They struggled on offense. But really, there were 2 big plays for Indianapolis. One was a 60, 70-yard pass interference call that ended up at the goal line where Indianapolis punched it in and scored. And another was a massive running play. Other than those 2 plays, the Tennessee defense really held Indianapolis down. It happens, Kel. We had a couple of missed field goals in that game as well. A couple of missed extra points, which hurt us from a math perspective because we could have gone into overtime and tried to win it there. But, I don't think Tennessee was the wrong side last week. I just don't think they were the right side. It was ended up being a coin toss, and, well, I don't win coin tosses. As for this game, Kellen, I want your opinion here as well. Jacksonville at +1.5. This quarterback for Jacksonville looks like one cool dude. Talk about creating a brand. Do you see his outfit?
He's a mess. Gardner Minshew was one of my favorite quarterbacks a couple of years ago at Washington State. Made me a boatload of money, not only in overs, but Washington State cashing his outright underdogs. So I took it with Jacksonville over Houston, and they kept it close. They had a chance to win it. They gutsy call there at the end to go for 2 instead of try to go to overtime because they kind of know what they have with Minshew, and that's not a whole lot.
Yeah, so for this game, really the bottom line for me is I'm going to look to the under. I'm worried about the side. I think this is going to be a very, very tight game. I think it's going to literally come down to the last possession. And I think the team with the ball on the last possession won't even score. So I think this game is going to be super tight game, played close to the vest. I think there's going to be a lot of running in this game. Henry's a beast. Marlon Mack looks pretty good. The O-line on Indianapolis is probably the best in all of football. I think this game's going to be played in the trenches. I think this is going to come down to an offensive and defensive line on both sides of the ball. I have nothing for you sidewise, but I do like under the total of 39. What are your thoughts?
Another snooze fest on Thursday night. I can hardly wait. This one's down from 41 to 39. So if you like the under, you better get on it quick because you're already late to the party. All right, a game that I wanted to go to so bad, but Denver sucks, so it's just not worth it. Denver at Green Bay, catching 8 at some spots now here in Vegas. Prez total 43. That Denver-Chicago game could have went either way, right? There was a weird fluky penalty, whether you want to call it or not, on Bradley Chubb.
It was definitely not a penalty.
Okay, I'm just making sure I don't sound like a homer right there with Denver. I kind of made a joke about them kicking a field goal. Sure enough, they got to kick the field goal in Mile High, went through the uprights, perfect. Chicago wins the game. So I don't know if that's more on Denver's fault, but I would say Chicago dominated that game. Denver needed the backdoor just to get the cover there with the late touchdown. Packers up 21-0 and then just sat on a lead. I don't like when teams do that. I laid the 2.5 with the Packers and shouldn't have ever had to sweat that one, but I did. I don't think I can lay 8 here with the Packers. That's just too many points.
Yeah, and I can't lay 8 either, Kellen. I actually think Denver is a little better than you're giving them credit for. I think they had 27, something like that, first downs in the game against Chicago. They were able to move the ball. Joe Flacco has played mistake-free right now. The offense, look, it's a new offense. New wide receivers, a new quarterback, and it looks like it's slowly coming together. I think this Denver team is better than most people are giving them credit for. And I like Denver plus the 8 in this game, but I'm playing the over here, Kel. It's gone down from 44 to 43, and even with Denver's vaunted defense, 43 in this day and age is a very low number. That's equivalent to a 35, say 7-8 years ago. I think both teams are going to score. We've seen Denver, as I said at the beginning, move the ball up and down the field. They're really, really struggling in the red zone. But I don't think that's something that will continue. I understand they don't have a really tall go-to sort of Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins kind of wide receiver for those red zone situations, but they're going to punch it in. Over 43 for me, Kel.
Okay. Detroit got it done for me miraculously over the Chargers. I don't know how, but they did, and I will take it and hopefully not have to bet on them for a couple more weeks. That being said, I'm not laying 6.5 here with Philadelphia. I was on your beloved Falcons on Sunday night. They got the win for me. 46.5. This one's come down a little bit. I don't really like this game. I don't have a big opinion on it, Prez.
Yeah, Kel, I look at this game and I think to myself, does Philly deserve -6.5? They didn't cover it against Washington. They lost the game outright to Atlanta, and Detroit is looking much better, at least much more disciplined. They really owned Arizona for 3 of 4 quarters. they could have lost the game last week. I mean, if for a Phillip Rivers mistake towards the end of the game, Detroit would have lost that game. But let's be honest here, they're playing better ball. I lean on Detroit here at plus 6.5. And I think if you guys wait, Philadelphia being such a public team, I think there might be a 7 on the board by game time. But again, Kel, I'm looking at over the total. And I know with Detroit, it's like, why would you play over the total here? The bottom line is teams are scoring on Philadelphia right now. And Philadelphia is a scoring machine. We saw what they could do in the second half of that game against Washington. And they're stretching the field. I just need to wait for the injury reports to be locked in before I lock that bet in. But my lean right now is towards the over. We just need Deshaun Jackson back in that game.
Yeah, we talked about this team last week, and you said, Kel, don't bet against them. I did not actually physically bet against them on the Bleacher Report show that I'm on.
Did it?
No, yeah. On the Bleacher Report show, they make me pick some of the more exciting games. And so I said, okay, I'm going to take the 7 here with the Raiders. Raiders up 10-0. 10-0.
Yeah.
And then just nothing. Literally nothing. I would have bet against Kansas City again. I said on the show last week I won't. And I didn't physically with my own money. Baltimore and Lamar Jackson's looking pretty good. This Kansas City defense is really suspect. Total's all the way up to 55 already. So I don't know if I have a big opinion on the total, but man, Prez, am I crazy for liking Baltimore, or do I just hate the Chiefs?
No, I think Baltimore is the right play here, Kel. I mean, let's be honest. Let's look at last year's game. Last year's game came right down to the wire. Kansas City had no answer for this Baltimore offense, and their offense is just so much better than it was last year. We go back to the NFL preview show, and I told you, don't sleep on Baltimore. They're going to win the division. I think you did. I think they were plus 240 to win the division, and I have my money already on them, and I'm looking really good. I mean, Pittsburgh is done. Cleveland is not the team that everyone thought they would be. So I'm leaning on Baltimore again this week at plus 6.5, and I like the under, Kel. I mean, who wants to take unders in Kansas City games?
That's scary.
But 55 is a massive number, and we saw what Baltimore did last year with Kansas City, and that is they just played ball control, time possession of ball, and I think they're going to do the same here. I think Baltimore is going to slow this game down. I think we're going to see a 3-headed running attack with Lamar putting up over 100. And Kansas City is really weak on against the run. So, yeah, I like Baltimore, and I like under the total, Kel. Let's take a quick commercial break and right back with the rest of the games. Hey, everybody, really quickly, I'm the Prez. You're watching the NFL Presidential Address, the second most watched show, second most watched NFL handicapping show on the internet behind Bet On It, which is superb. Promo for you guys. Yeah, Kelly, you're not even on the screen, so keep the laughing to a bare minimum. 3 days of Dave Koken and 3 days of Teddy covers. You can get all 3 days of each one of them for $59. Use the promo code Koken59 and Teddy59. And Kel, listen to this. Dave Koken is 12-5 to start college football. He is 20-10 on both footballs since the preseason started. Teddy, matching him stride for stride, went 6-1 this weekend in college and NFL. He's on a 6-0 NFL run. He is 21-11 in both footballs since preseason started. These are unbelievable numbers from both of these guys. And you can get 3 days of their plays for $20 off. Use the promo code Koken59 or Teddy59 over at wagertalk.com. Kel, what's up next?
Yeah, shout out to you and Teddy, also, by the way, in the Super Contest. Just absolutely killing it. Hopefully you guys continue that streak this week. Probably not by betting on either one of these teams. Cincinnati at Buffalo. Cincinnati, man, too good to be true. Week 1, or was it kind of just ran into a buzzsaw with a really good Niners team that I wasn't expecting to be as good as they were? Catching 6 now at Buffalo, total 44. This one's been bet up from 4 and 40.5.
Yeah, and you know what, Kelly? I really don't have much to say about this game. I think the Bills are for real. I think they're a playoff team. I think they have one of the best defenses in all of football. Cincinnati against San Francisco. The game really got away from Cincinnati early. A couple of big turnovers, a missed field goal, and they were down by two touchdowns, and it took their balanced attack off the table. Dalton did not have a good game. They really struggled to move the ball. And San Francisco was playing with a short field all game long. You're right, Kel. I mean, is Cincinnati as good as they were against Seattle or as bad as they were against San Fran? I think it's probably somewhere in between. But I do know that Buffalo is not going to put up a lot of points game in and game out. And if you're a team that's going to keep the games tight, win them 17-14, 20-14, 21-17, 13-10, those kind of numbers, I can't give you 6 points. I can't take the over and I can't take the under. This is an outright pass for me. I got nothing.
I got to agree with you. Okay, your favorite Atlanta team catching 2. It's headed to 1.5 here in Vegas. Total 47 at Indianapolis. This is another game that I don't have a huge opinion on. I still can't get a very good read on Indianapolis. And that's just because I'm not sold on this team just yet. Now, as I mentioned, the Titans game, I probably should have watched a little bit more, but you kind of alluded to maybe it was 2 or 3 big time plays that really was a deciding factor in that one.
Well, Kel, Murphy's Law was in effect last week, and I really hope all the listeners took advantage of it. The fact is I've been riding Atlanta for a year and a half and been getting slaughtered. Then I made a public declaration that I will not bet Atlanta again for the rest of the year, and they go out and win. That's Murphy's Law, and I know a bunch of you guys for sure jumped on Atlanta. Look, this game I find tough, man. Atlanta struggles on the road, but they've got to feel really good about beating Philadelphia. With that said, Indianapolis, I just don't think they're a very good offensive team. I think we saw them get lucky last week against Tennessee, and here they are as a favorite. Which is the better team, Kel?
I don't have an honest answer, which is the better team. I think that personally, I think Atlanta has more weapons. I trust Matt Ryan. If he doesn't make some of those Sunday night, what the F are you doing type of mistakes, because there was a couple of those when I bet that. Yes, the Kirk Cousins. There you go. I have to say I lean towards Atlanta being the better team, but Indianapolis has played well these first couple of games, and this is just, I don't see this being a game I want to get involved in.
Yeah, I mean, for me, look, my lean is on Atlanta here. I think they are a better team all around. The bottom line is I think they have more weapons on offense, and their defense has to feel really good here. I mean, they held a Philadelphia offense down last week. I think they go into this game. I think it's going to be very close. I'm not going to get to the window on this game. I'm worried about it. My lean on this game actually is on under the total of 47. 47 is a massive number. I mean, you have to ask yourself, what kind of game plan is Indianapolis going to come out with? And my attitude, honestly, is similar to what Baltimore is going to do with Kansas City. I think Indianapolis is going to run the ball 2 out of 3 times behind that ridiculously talented offensive line. I think they're going to slow the game down. And I don't think Indianapolis can put up 21 points, which would really be needed for this game to go over the total. I like under the total here. I think Indy's got a good defense. And I do lean on Atlanta, but I'm not going to get to the window with them.
I mentioned last week that I gave out Oakland +7 because it was a game I had to talk about. And they just basically fizzled out after Patrick Mahomes threw 2 daggers in the end zone, and that was all she wrote. 8.5. Almost, there's even 1.9 here in Vegas. Total 43. Prez, I would love to bet against Oakland here on the road. I'm not laying 9 points with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, so let me tell you something, Kellen. I spoke to Carmine Bianco about this on Monday, and we've seen this over the last couple of years. You look at Green Bay at -8. You look at Minnesota at -8.5. And what we're finding is that these are regularly -7 games. But the teasers are in play so big over at the sports books that we're actually, the line makers don't want to sit on 7. They're moving games to 9 because of the 10-point teasers. And I think that actually gives us a little bit of value on Oakland. With that said, here's the bottom line. Minnesota dominated Green Bay for 3 quarters. Their defense is ridiculous. I don't see how Oakland can put up more than 2 touchdowns in this game. I can't take the side here. I don't want to take Minnesota at -8.5. I think they're going to run the ball, run. And then the question is it going to be touchdowns or field goals when they get into the red zone? I think the line is too high. I wish I could give out picks on every game, but people are playing with their hard-earned money. This game's a straight pass for me.
Yeah, Prez, we texted about that earlier this week and talking about the NFL card before we did the show, and I think you and I are both on agreement. There's a lot of games that I just flat out hate this week and want no part of. The next one included the Jets at New England. No, I don't want to lay 23 with New England, just like I didn't want to lay 18.5 with them last week. Of course, they absolutely blow Miami off the field. Yeah, but the under was. Go ahead.
No. I mean, you got to take into account the New England-Miami line. They were up 23-0, and then they got a couple of turnovers. Then Belichick decided to throw the ball with 3 minutes left to go deep. I don't know if it was obviously it was an outright cover, but looking at that game in its entirety, it was a phony cover to some extent. What do you like in this game? And I'll give you my thoughts.
Honestly, I don't know if the Jets can score. I watched the Jets on Monday night. No Sam Darnold, no Trevor Siemian. I had to Google before they announced it. Luke Falk, who honestly is not a bad college quarterback. Is Adam Gase going to let him throw? Is Adam Gase going to go for 4th down instead of kicking the damn field goal to put you down 7? I don't know. And that is what I don't like, is the unknown here with what I'm getting from the New York Jets. Not only from an offensive perspective, I know that defense is solid, but from a coaching perspective. So I lean towards the under here. And we've seen money come in from 45.5 down to 43.5 now. That's about my only opinion on this game.
Yeah, so you and I differ here, Kel. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to take New England at -22.5 against the Jets, but I like the over in this game, and I think the New York Jets will put up some points. I think I can count on the New York Jets to give me 10 to 14, 17 points, and I think I can count on New England to get into the 30s. I don't see how New England doesn't get into the 30s in this game. I think they're going to have the ball a lot. I think the New York Jets are going to go 3 and out many times in this game. They're going to fall behind 3 touchdowns, and then they're going to air the ball out. Robbie Anderson looked amazing last week for the New York Jets, even with a backup quarterback in. I think we can count on the Jets to put up some points. I think 43 is an extremely low number. Let's be honest, Jerkel. Would you be surprised if New England put up 6 touchdowns in this game?
Yes. Against that Jets defense, I would.
Yeah.
I think I do. I do think that's a lot. I would not be surprised if they put up 4.
Okay. Well, me and you disagree on this one. I like over the total of 43.5. What's next?
Miami at Dallas. This one opened 17, already 21.5. It's freaking Wednesday, Prez. And this line's been bet up almost 4 points. Of course. Because right now, everybody's mindset is fade Miami, fade Miami, fade Miami, and I get it. What would it have to get to for me to take Miami? Probably 24.5 before I could actually put my hard-earned money on this team. Total is 47.5. We even have a 47.5 pretty much across the board here. I'm not laying it. Again, I can't play it. I don't think this Miami team is well-rounded. I feel like they flat out quit in the second half of that game against the Pats, where in the first quarter, okay, let's play tough. And then they don't care. There's not a good winning mindset in Miami, and I'll be shocked if they can keep this one close.
Yeah, I mean, just another absurd line. 21.5 for the Cowboys. I cannot take 21.5 for the Cowboys, but I will not bet on Miami all year. So from a side perspective, I'm laying off this game, but I do like under the total of 47. Kel, I think it's totally reasonable that Miami doesn't score 1 point. They couldn't put up anything against Baltimore. I think they got 7. They couldn't put up anything against New England. And I think Dallas's defense is better than New England's. So, to me, I'm getting 47 points. I mean, let's be honest here. Jason Garrett is not a guy who Pete Carroll's or Bill Belichick's the score up. Jason Garrett.
Bill Belichick's the score up.
Yeah, well, Jason Garrett will be just if they're up by 17 going into the fourth quarter, they're going to slow this game down to a crawl. I think they're going to pull Zeke. I think we're going to see a bunch of Pollard towards the end of the game. I don't think they're going to take any risks. I don't think they're going to stretch the field. I think for this game to go over the total, you literally need to count on Dallas putting up 35 points. That's a big ask, man. I mean, I know they're playing a team like Miami who sucks and quits. I just don't think Dallas is a team that actually wants to put up 35 points as opposed to a New England Patriots team. 47 is a massive number in this game. I like under the total.
Okay, New York Giants at Tampa Bay. We get to see Daniel Jones. This is going to be interesting. So I was on Tampa Bay on Thursday night.
Yep.
As more of a play against who are the Panthers to be laying this big of a number because of the overreaction of Jameis, basically. Now it's the exact same scenario. Who is Jameis Winston and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be laying 6.5 at home or not? Jameis did have a perfect game, at least an error-free game, I should say, against the Panthers. But I think they're going to be overlooking the Giants here, especially with Daniel Jones under center. I haven't got there yet. I don't know if it'll get to 7, but at 6.5, I got to look towards New York.
Yeah, I'm with you, Kel. I like the Giants here too, and I think the over's in play, Kel. And I know that sounds really weird. I mean, Daniel Jones's first game ever as a starter. Why would you go over the total? And I'll tell you why. I think we've seen how bad the New York Giants defense is, and I think Tampa Bay can score. If Jameis Winston is playing at a top level with Mike Evans, Cameron Brate, et cetera, 2 decent running backs coming out of the backfield, I think we can see Tampa Bay put up 30 points against this really bad New York Giants defense. And I went back, actually, and I looked at some game tape on Daniel Jones in the regular season and as Duke. You can find anything on YouTube. Especially the number 2 most watched NFL show in the world, ours. Here's what we know about Daniel Jones. This guy likes to air the ball up. This guy is not shy throwing 30, 40-yard bombs. And for that reason, I think the over is in play. I think Tampa Bay does have a good defense, but I think we're going to get the New York Giants. I think we could get 24 points out of them, 20 to 24 points out of the New York Giants. And if the line makers think Tampa Bay is going to win by 7, that takes this game over the total. I know I'm giving a lot of totals out this week. It's not purposely done. I'd like to give out as many sides as totals or vice versa. I'm just giving you what I like. And in this game, I like over the total of 48 points with a strong lean on the New York Giants. But we are going to discuss this New York Giants game a little later. Go on.
All right, Prez. A big question mark on this game, and the question mark is Cam Newton. Carolina at Arizona has been pulled off the board in a few spots. It's 3.5, and even 2.5 here in 3.5 was the opener. Now we're seeing 2.5 here in Vegas. I don't know if Cam plays or not. I'm looking on Twitter right now, and it says he's a big question mark. And so I think in that aspect, I don't want to touch it. I do like Arizona back at home catching points again. I was very happy with that tie that they came roaring back in the fourth quarter against the Lions. I don't know. Arizona is not as bad as everybody thinks. They got the cover last week against Baltimore. I think they have some fight in them, which we don't see in the Miami Dolphins.
Do you know who's really bad? You in fantasy football.
Yeah. And you know why? Because I don't have time to study it. That's why I normally don't play.
Who did you lose to last week in fantasy football?
I didn't even know who that was.
Me!
Oh, well, I would add a side bet with you. Good God, I didn't even know you have some weird name.
What's my
I
weird
didn't know who
name?
it
It's
was.
Mr.
Mr. Fuck Off.
Fukov, which is the Russian term for fuck off.
Okay, great.
And speaking of which, I don't even want to talk about this Arizona-Carolina game. Move on.
Okay, great. Let's see. Next up, New Orleans at Seattle. No Drew Brees. This one opened New Orleans -1. Total of 50. No Drew Brees. Now it's 4.5. Total of 45. I was on the Rams last week against the Saints. I played in the overreaction kind of spot there, and I would never cheer for somebody to be injured, especially an elite quarterback like Drew Brees. But his backup wasn't terrible.
You see me when you're talking about this game, and I'm shaking my head. I mean, this is a game I'm excited for, Kel. I love New Orleans this weekend.
Really? And Teddy Bridgewater,
yeah, you know what? It's not even that. It's just the concept of Seattle. I just don't believe this Seattle team. I think New Orleans, look, they lost to the Rams. They held the Rams down. This New Orleans defense is doing better than most people think. Cameron Jordan's a beast. I think Pittsburgh made a big mistake blitzing Russell Wilson. 67% of the plays last week. The most he's ever been blitzed in his life. And, man, blitzing Russell Wilson is not a good idea. I think New Orleans comes in with a different defensive game plan here. And I just don't think Seattle is going to put up a ton of points. If you look at that game against Pittsburgh, they got a touchdown off of a flag on a field goal attempt. Then they got another touchdown on a bad referee call. They got another couple of touchdowns on turnovers by Pittsburgh. Even when they had to march the entire field, they were not able to do it. I think Teddy Bridgewater is very accurate. I think they're going to game plan for him. I think we're going to see a lot of Taysom Hill in this game. I think this game New Orleans is going to slow this game down. And the bottom line for me, Kelly, is if New Orleans is down by 10 with the ball and 2 minutes to go, I think they're going to get that backdoor touchdown. I really like New Orleans plus the 4.
Okay. Next up, Houston, who, like I mentioned, I bet against them last week. Just too many points. Now headed to play the Chargers. This one's down to 3 -120. Still could get Houston. Total 47.5. But Prez, these are two teams that I know are good, right? But Houston could have lost that game to Jacksonville as pretty sizable favorites. The Chargers, Phillip Rivers turned the ball over. I think they missed 2 field goals in that game. Like I said, I was very lucky with the Lions. That being said, I'm not sold on either one of these teams. Again, I know that they're loaded with talent. I know that both teams are going to be good, and probably both teams are going to be in the playoffs. But now that they're facing each other, I can't make a definitive decision here. I think 3 is the right number. Looks like money's coming in on the under. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I like the under too, Kel, and I like Houston in this game. Look, if you listen to the NFL preview show that you and I did at the beginning of the season, I was really high on San Diego, but the bottom line is something is wrong. Something is wrong in San Diego. I don't like their play calling. I don't like their mix between running and throwing. Phillip Rivers looks like he's aged overnight, similar to how I look. And I think Houston is a really good team. We spoke about this in the NFL preview show. If I'm going to take division games, I'm going to take the dog if they're good. I took Minnesota +3 against Green Bay in week 2. I felt that was the right call. I took Green Bay at +3 against Chicago in week 1. I liked Washington in week 1. They were playing Philadelphia, another division game. And I'm going to stick to it here, Kel. I'm going to take the dogs in these division rivalry games with 2 good teams. I think Houston just laid an egg last week. I think Houston is top 4 team in the AFC. I think Houston, Kansas City, New England, and either the Chargers or Baltimore are the top 4 teams in the AFC. I'm taking the dog in the spot.
Okay, no Big Ben. This one opened Pick'em at San Francisco. Now 6.5 total 44. I don't know what to do without Big Ben. I think he's probably going to retire, but that doesn't matter for here, right? His backup quarterback, I don't know. I don't know what to do. Devlin Hodges is the third string quarterback. If Mason Rudolph gets hurt in this game, we have to go to Devlin Hodges. I had to Google who this kid was, Prez. So that's where I'm at with this game. That scares me. I don't want to take a risk here. San Francisco has been absolutely pummeling teams. They look so much better than I thought they would. I thought they'd be an 8-win team. They may be a 10 or 12-win team now. 6.5. Of course, if I lay the 6.5, Mason Rudolph comes out gunslinging and they lose by 3 or win the game outright. So I feel like this is just one of those games where I'm treading lightly. Maybe I get some good information. I might play it, but other than that, I want no part of it.
Let me give you some good information. Big Ben is out and Big Mace is in. Do you know how big that guy is? I didn't realize it.
He's a big boy.
He's 6'7" and 240, something like that. Look, San Francisco has come out guns a-blazing, 2-0 on the season, and most of it is from defense. I mean, last year they had 7 turnovers on the entire season. I think they're at 7 already. They won the game against Tampa Bay with turnovers. They won the game against Cincinnati with turnovers, but their offense did look good last week. Breida looked phenomenal. Jimmy finally came out and showed that he can throw the ball all around the field, but they were playing Cincinnati. Pittsburgh's a proud team, Kel. They came back against Seattle last week, almost won the game. Mason looked good. I actually like Pittsburgh here at plus 6.5. And here's the craziest thing. I like over the total in this game too. I think Pittsburgh's defense is not very good. I think I can count on San Fran to put up 24 to 30 points, and I think Pittsburgh will match them. I think this is going to be a much closer game than everybody thinks, and I think this game could get into the 50s.
Wow. Okay, well, Sunday night, and you know what I'm looking at. I love these home underdogs in primetime situations. Yes, Cleveland off another primetime game, but not really. I mean, that was just kind of no Sam Darnold. Then Trevor gets hurt in the first quarter, whatever it was. Cleveland had some moments of seeing Baker make bad decisions like the interception, but that defense in Cleveland capitalizes, and they capitalize really well. We've seen the Rams struggle on the road before. I like the 3 here with Cleveland at home.
I got no opinion on the side, Kel. I mean, I sit here and I think to myself, I think the Rams are a better team than Cleveland. And, I've had a bad start to the season. I told you guys all that at the beginning of the show. And I think one of the reasons I've had a bad start is that I was playing against good teams. And that's, where you're in a situation where one team is better than the other, but I'm going to take the points. I don't know if you know this, Kel, but any game where the line is under -6, the points are very rarely in play. It's somewhere around 80% of the time the team who wins covers. So the question I ask you is Cleveland going to win this game?
I do think Cleveland is, within 3 points. We know that field goal type games, almost 50% of the time, the dog wins outright. I think they can. I think they can definitely win this game. And I think that's what I'm looking at here is Cleveland to capitalize on kind of the negative press that they got, for lack of better words, over the last few weeks. I do think that people don't feel like that was an earned win at the Jets. I think that they have to step up here. I think OBJ breaking that catch record is helpful for him. I think that there's a lot of egos on that team, which is why I bet their season win total under. I do think that the bookmakers will be cheering for the Rams probably come Sunday night. But as of right now, I like Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm going to lay off this game, Kel. I wish I had something. I feel like the Rams would beat Cleveland on a neutral field 7 out of 10 times. I think this line is short. But I agree with everything you're saying about Cleveland, and the home dog on prime time is pretty irresistible. So this is a stay away game for me.
All right. Last but not least, Monday night, Chicago at Washington. Washington could not get it done against the Cowboys for me. The Cowboys are a much better team than I had originally anticipated, and I thought that Washington would be able to keep it close in a division rivalry game, catching points at home. I was wrong. And now I'm looking at the Redskins yet again over Chicago. But again, as I mentioned, against Chicago week 1 with Green Bay, I took 2.5 last week with Denver. I'm going to take the points against Chicago yet again until they can prove to me otherwise. I'm catching 4 with Washington at home Monday night. I know Washington's got a lot of issues that they need to work out, but AP is going to be fine. It's going to help get the running game going. And Case Keenum, if he stays in his little bubble, his little don't make any error mistakes type of box, I think that they can keep this one close, if not win the game.
I agree with you, Kel. Chicago does not deserve my money. They haven't earned my money, that's for sure. I think this team is completely out of sync offensively. I think this Mitch Trubisky, this guy's a disaster right now. Do I think he'll right the ship? Sure, he'll right the ship. He'll do better. But this is not a top 10 quarterback ever. Literally ever. It wasn't before, and he won't be later. Chicago's winning, and won last week, smoking mirrors, and I'm getting more than a field goal in this game. I'm going to take it, but I really like under the total here, Kel. 41.5. I know that's a super low number, but let's be honest here. Which one of these teams is getting 21 points?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think it's the Redskins. And unless Chicago's defense scores 2 touchdowns, I don't think it's Chicago.
Would 16-13 be more shocking than 28-21?
No. I think this game, you're absolutely right. This game has 13-10 written all over it. Bears win the game, Redskins cover. Some late field goal type of game, just like in Denver.
I'm with you 100%, Kel. Let's take a quick break and get back with our teaser bets, Moneyline Dog, and Survivor Play, which I'm having so much fun with Survivor. Hey guys, thanks for watching the NFL Presidential Address. The college football betting show this week has Ralph Michaels on it. It's a phenomenal show. It's super quick. We take apart 15 games. Ralph does all the heavy lifting. Make sure to watch that. Also, guys, make sure to check out the new show we've got coming on Monday. It's called Pros vs. Joe's Prime Time, and what we're going to be doing is me, Rob Vino, and Joe Ranieri, both Sports Memo guys, are going to look at the 5 big primetime games of the week, excluding Thursday night. We're going to look at the Friday night game, the 3:30 ESPN or ABC game, the 7:30, 8 o'clock ESPN or ABC game, CBS, whatever it might be, the Sunday night NFL game, and the Monday night NFL game. We're going to look at all 5 of those games. We're going to come up with a consensus play on each game. And then we're going to head over to wagertalk.com and insert those 5 games into our contest software. We're going to ask you guys to pick those picks on those exact 5 games, go head-to-head against us. And you have nothing to lose. You get $10 in wager bucks just for entering, $25 in wager bucks if you tie us, $50 in wager bucks if you beat us, and $100 in wager bucks if you sweep the board 5-0. And of course, a mention and discussion about you on the following week's show. That show will only be on Mondays. We are so excited about it. So make sure to tune in for that on Monday. Kelly, Stewart, Teddy and I are 7-3 in the Westgate?
Yes, started off super hot, kept it rolling again last week. Prez, if you're hitting 4-1, 3-2 every week, you're going to be in the money by the end of the season.
Yeah, so I'm not going to look at the leaderboard until week 13. I'm sure there are 500 people better than 7-3 right now.
And I'm sure because that's how it is. And it's also been kind of a square start to the NFL season. I mean, 2,000 entrants in the Super Contest played the Jets -2.5. Right there was an easy win for them. So, yeah, I mean, I was really hoping for an outright,
You
I'm
mean
sorry, played against
Cleveland?
Jets, the Browns.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was really hoping for an outright Jets winner so that 2,000 people had a loss, but
Hey,
that's just kind of the
Teddy
hateful
and I
person I
played
am.
Cleveland.
Oh, well, you have to. It's a numbers game.
You got a teaser
I
bet for
get
us
it.
this week?
My teaser last week
So
lost,
did mine.
so you probably don't want my teaser bet. But yeah, I'm looking at both Sunday night and Monday night. Get them over. Key number 7. I'm going to take Cleveland and Washington. That will keep me off of probably betting both of these games because it will give me some action. Nice little teaser, 1,200 to win a dime. I'll be happy and keep me from burying myself in Cleveland and Washington money lines.
Yeah, so I never, ever, ever bet 2-team 6-point teasers. Never have, never will. I got 2 teasers for you guys. My 10-point teaser, I'm going to take Green Bay. They're going to win this game, Kel. I'm going to take Minnesota. They're going to win this game. I cannot see how either Green Bay or Minnesota loses on Sunday. And my third one is Atlanta, Kel. I'm going to take them up to 12. The reason is I can see Atlanta losing this game, but I don't think Indianapolis has the guns to win any game with more than 12 points. So I'm going to take Green Bay, Minnesota, and Atlanta. And I have a 6-point teaser as well. 5 teams, Kel. I'm going to take Buffalo down to 0. I'm going to take down to half. Philadelphia down to half. I think Kansas City beats Baltimore, Kel. I like Baltimore to cover, but I think Kansas City will get the win. So that's down to half. I like Houston plus the points. I think that game's going to be a 1-possession game, one way or the other. And I'm going back to Atlanta for my 5-team 6-point teaser. Moneyline dog, Kel, who'd you like?
There's a couple that I like this week, Prez, and you just mentioned Baltimore, and that is who I want to have the cojones to bet. But on Wednesday, I do not. So we're going to move on to the next moneyline dog, and that is the Cleveland Browns on Sunday night. I think Cleveland wins this game. I think they shut up some of the naysayers. I know you like the Rams, but I'm just still not sold that the Rams can get that monkey off their back on the road, especially early on in the season. Sean Payton showed me that they had what it takes to beat the Saints again, proved to me on that in the Coliseum. Now they're headed all the way back east for a big primetime game. I think they lose that one outright.
Kel, we talk every week about the show has to be 40 minutes long. Here we go again, another hour. And it was almost no small talk. 2 money line bets for you. The first is the New York Giants. I know, crazy, but look. I don't want to give a +3 money line dog here, Kel. I mean, like, what are you, handing out a little chihuahua to people? Let's go Burmese mountain dog. Let's go German shepherd. Let's talk Portuguese water dog. +6.5 of the New York Giants. I think they could win this game outright, and I'll tell you why. Tampa Bay can lay an egg. Jameis Winston can throw 4 interceptions in the first half. And that's why here's the interesting thing. I don't think I'm going to get to the window on the New York Giants +6.5. Yet, I'm going to get to the window on the New York Giants on the money line. Why is that? Because I believe that Jameis Winston and the Tampa Bay offense has a 50-50 chance of being really good or really bad. So if I'm going to lay 110 to win 100, I don't want my 50-50 chance. But if I'm going to lay 100 to win 260, 280, I'll take my 50-50 chance that Tampa Bay lays an egg. I don't like the New York Giants on the spread, but I do like them on the money line. The next bet is the New Orleans Saints. I think they can win this game outright at +4. Okay, that's not a Burmese mountain dog. That's more like a Cocker Spaniel. But unlike you, Kel, it still ain't a little sheepoo.
We all know that my big dogs come in college football. I'm sorry. just the way that it works.
Kel, Survivor. Everybody took New England last week except for that win guy. That win guy who we spoke about in the first week entered 3 teams, took Chicago all 3 times in the first week and lost. There is a second chance pool attached to it, so I actually got to see what he took in the second week and lost all of those as well.
Oh, geez.
Whatever. I took New England. You know, look, I understand that some people map out the whole season. You know, they want to keep these teams like New England and Dallas and, you know, Philadelphia, whatever, or Minnesota, all these good teams. They want to stack them for the end. No, that ain't my strategy. I have 2 strategies this year in Survivor. 1, get through each week and worry about next week later.
Survive in advance. Survive in advance
And
is all you're going to
2, bet
do.
against Miami. My Survivor pick is Dallas.
Mine too. I already put it in. My Survivor pick is 2 Dallas because it has to be. Listen, I told you I wasn't as sold on the Dallas Cowboys. This is going to be the biggest favorite they are all year. We saw last year the Bills go into Minneapolis and beat Minnesota. This Miami team is not going to surprise us. We've seen what we're getting from Miami. Unless Josh Rosen pulls a rose out of his ass, they may cover this game. I don't see them losing. So you're right. I have to play Dallas. The other team I did play I have 3. I played Minnesota in 1, and I played Green Bay in another.
Yeah, and that goes right to my 3-team 10-point teaser.
Yeah.
I mean, Minnesota, Green Bay. I'm with you 100%. Kel, awesome show today. I really love doing this, and I watched Bet on It again this past week. You know, I got to tell you, like, the production quality and the chemistry and the difference between Marco and VR, it's exceptional. Marco really knows his stuff when he talks. I think the way you've set it up with Marco talking first most of the time lends itself really well. I don't think anybody in this space, maybe Ralph Michaels, could follow VR. That guy has got so much charisma. It's unbelievable. I mean, I was talking to Vivian about VR, and I was saying to her, and hey, guys, the show's over. If you don't want the small talk, you can stop. We're not talking football anymore. But I want to talk about VR. I could see if VR had my narcissistic attitude, this is what VR would say. He would say, guys, the Minnesota game, whatever you're thinking of doing it, I thought about it 10 times already this morning. Whatever 6-team parlays you want to play, I played those exact ones 10 years ago. If you got an if bet you're even contemplating, I contemplated it while on the toilet. If you want to take a teaser, mix it with a parlay, hook it up with a money line, done, been there. There is nothing I haven't done in sports betting. I'm the frickin' man. I know everybody. I do everything. Now you got to understand. That's me imitating VR. He's way too cool to deliver that message. But that guy knows more about what we do than Ralph can stand with him. Head right there with trends and statistics and thoughts. But VR, just Gianni, the Greek gambler, he just oozes being in the trenches. I mean, whatever sports book you're going to, I went there 10 times yesterday alone. I mean...
It's funny. No, I know what you mean, because VR is such a nice guy. He's not
he's not like that at all. He's the nicest guy in the world.
For sure. But yes, I'm laughing because you're right. That is a fusion of Prez and VR. I can just picture it. And yeah.
There's not a bet I've never made. There are coaches that coach worse than me. I mean, there's a seat at every sports book in the world with my name on it. I mean, it's like that guy just oozes authority. I am enamored by him, and I hope you tell him about my imitation.
I'm gonna make him watch it.
Yeah, he needs to watch it. But the thing is, and I must reiterate, that is not who he is. I mean, he is a kind, warm, caring guy. I understand that he slicks his hair back and it's jet black, and that doesn't do well for car salesmen. I get it. That's not who he is. This is one of the nicest freaking guys you will ever meet on the planet. He's got a beautiful wife, gorgeous family. I love the man to death. But maybe you could get him to just do a little narcissism just for me, like as a dedication.
Okay, I'll get him to do his best Prez imitation today on the show, just for you, Prez.
You're going to tell him about this, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to text him right now.
And that's why he balances so well with Marco, because, you know, Marco knows his stuff. I mean, Marco's right there with Ralph when it comes to knowing everything about every game. But Marco is so even keel, and he's so full of data and information. And then you go to him and he really lays the game out so beautifully. And then you go to...
Marco's the Wager Talk teddy bear.
Yeah. And then you go to VR and it's like, this man knows his stuff. Anyway, Kel... I love every part of Bet On It. I love the Ralph segment on Bet On It. The show's so good. Congratulations for your wonderful success. Send my love to everybody. You're doing a ton of shows in studio today. Thanks for everything. And well, we're done. Want to leave? Want to take us home?
Yes, Prez, I'm so sad because we don't have the music like last year where we just watch you headbang out. But yes, President, he can just headbang silently. There we go.
No, I was playing War Pigs in my head. Do you know that song?
Oh my, yes, because you made me play it last year.
General gathered in their masses. Bye, everyone.
And now we get kicked off YouTube for the 13 seconds Prez sings a song. Have a great week, everyone.